The foundation of the American League East is about to shatter. The Boston Red Sox are prepared to trade a two-time Gold Glove winner in exchange for an unproven, left-handed infielder from the New York Mets. Let the ghosts of Fenway and Citi Field weep, because this is the deal that Alex Bregman's departure forced, and it's a transaction that defines desperation disguised as perfect symmetry. For weeks, the murmurs surrounding a Red Sox-Mets convergence felt like wishful thinking from beat reporters starved for action. But the logic has become undeniable, especially since Bregman packed his bags for Wrigley Field. The Boston third base depth chart looks less like a major league roster and more like a collection of lottery tickets, ranking 28th in Fangraph's projected WAR of the hot corner. Meanwhile, the Mets, fresh off acquiring both Bo Bichette and Jorge Polanco, suddenly have a young, talented player named Brett Baty who finds himself orbiting the infield without a permanent gravitational center. They are flush with infield assets, and the Red Sox have a surplus in the outfield, specifically a fantastic defender in Manuel Abreu. Abreu is not just a body, he is consistency defined in right field, a man who has earned back-to-back Gold Gloves. While Zips projects a solid 4 WAR for Abreu in the coming campaign, that number might actually undersell his true defensive impact, given his elite metrics in the spacious outfields of the Fens. The Red Sox, possessing 4 starting caliber outfielders, Abreu among them, can afford to move a piece to fill a crucial, gaping hole. The perfect counterpart is Baty, projected for a slightly higher 6 WAR, a player who, despite his recent positional upheaval, still represents high ceiling potential. Crucially, the service time and contractual projection for both players align perfectly. They are both still pre-arbitration, both retaining 4 full years of team control. This is a dollar-for-dollar, value-for-value exchange of controllable talent designed to solve immediate and structural roster deficiencies. However, the path to this historic swap is lined with hesitations on both sides, which is why the deal hasn't materialized yet. For New York, dealing Baty feels like burning an insurance policy. Bo Bichette, their new cornerstone shortstop, has a crucial opt-out clause following the 2026 season. Should Bichette decide to test the waters of free agency, the Mets would immediately lose their second high-ceiling infielder in 2 years, following the departure that brought Polanco. Keeping Baty, even if he gets awkward reps in left field or serves as infield depth, is a hedge against a future catastrophic exit. Furthermore, if prospect Carson Benj develops quickly and solidifies the outfield, the need for Abreu, while significant, becomes less acute. On the flip side, Boston has its own reservations. While they desperately need a third baseman, they possess a cluster of internal options like Marcelo Mayer, Christian Campbell, Romy Gonzalez, and David Hamilton, who could theoretically fill the middle infield gaps. They also rank 18th in projected WAR at second base, suggesting mediocrity, not ruin. The more practical concern for the Red Sox is the profile of Baty himself. Boston's lineup is already heavily tilted toward left-handed bats. Baty, another lefty, exacerbates this platoon disadvantage, meaning the Red Sox would ideally prefer a right-handed slugger to balance their offensive attack. Yet, the clear upgrade at third base, where Baty's 6 WAR projection substantially lifts the floor of a cellar-dwelling infield, might compel Boston to swallow the lineup imbalance. Perhaps a small prospect toss-in from the Mets is all it takes to equalize the Gold Glove factor and seal the most shocking intra-league trade of the decade. The discussion of third base deficits leads us naturally across the league, specifically to a team that seems perpetually linked to trade activity, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh needs a hot corner solution, ranking 23rd in projected WAR at third base, with Jared Trillo currently soaking up most of that thin projection. They were reportedly keen on Eugenio Suárez, willing to match and even exceed the $15 million offer made by the Cincinnati Reds, underscoring their commitment to upgrading the position. Enter the Houston Astros, a team juggling too many high-value infielders. The Astros' current conundrum revolves around Isaac Paredes. Houston already employs Carlos Correa at third, and while Paredes offers potent offensive ability, shoehorning him into the existing alignment is causing logistical nightmares. If you play Paredes at second base, you push Jose Altuve into left field, which, based on every measurable defensive metric and historical precedent, is a terrible idea. If Paredes moves to DH, then Yordan Alvarez is forced to the outfield, which is similarly a massive detriment to the team's defensive integrity. And playing Paredes at first base means benching Christian Walker and the $20 million salary attached to him. Paredes, with 2 years of control remaining and an estimated $9 million salary in 2026, is the perfect yet awkward trade chip. The Pirates can solve this problem. In a swap, Houston sends Paredes and some cash to the Pirates for LHP Hunter Barco and 3B Jared Trello. For Pittsburgh, this instantly elevates an infield that finished 29th in infield OPS in 2025. A new configuration featuring Paredes, Brandon Lowe, and Ryan O'Hearn, potentially alongside rookie Connor Griffin, provides immense offensive upside. For the Astros, they address their persistent rotational depth issues. While they already acquired Mike Burrows this offseason, the rotation remains shaky beyond Hunter Brown. Christian Javier is returning from injury, Lance McCullers. Saya's last truly effective campaign was 2021, and Tatsuya Imai is facing the notoriously difficult transition from NPB to MLB. Furthermore, the simultaneous losses of Ronel Blanco, Hayden Wesneski, and Brandon Walter to Tommy John surgery last season leaves their depth chart dangerously thin. Barco, who projects as a reliable fourth starter ceiling, immediately offers necessary stability and a major league-ready option to weather the inevitable storm of injuries. But what if the Astros decide to double down on an alternative route, seeking a more significant payroll clearance and a right-handed reliever? The Padres offer an intriguing parallel trade scenario involving a different Astros first baseman, Christian Walker. Walker's first season in Houston was surprisingly underwhelming. His OPS plus slipped sharply from a robust 120 down to 97. However, he still managed to launch 27 home runs, and despite what some advanced metrics suggested, StatCast still pegged him as an excellent plus defender at first base, an evaluation I am inclined to trust, given his 3 consecutive Gold Gloves between 2022 and 2024. The San Diego Padres desperately need power after finishing 28th in home runs in 2025. Sending cash and Christian Walker to the Padres for RHP Bradley Rodriguez accomplishes several goals. Walker solves the power deficit while simultaneously allowing San Diego to transition Jake Cronenworth full-time back to second base, solidifying 2 weak spots. The Padres' current alignment projects poorly, ranking 28th in Fangraphs' projected WAR at first base, a mix of Gavin Sheets and Cronenworth, and 20th at second base, Cronenworth and Sungmin Song. Walker fixes both issues with a single move. For the Astros, while they must eat a portion of the $40 million Walker is owed over the next 2 seasons, trading him clears significant payroll flexibility for future moves. In return, they receive Rodriguez, a big league-ready reliever who provides crucial right-handed depth in a bullpen that is currently relying too heavily on Brian Avery from the right side. It's a clean trade that optimizes positions for both clubs and eases Houston's payroll burden. Moving from the American League contenders to the troubled National League East, we must discuss the inevitable, the C.J. Abrams dilemma facing the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are in a perpetual rebuild, starting from scratch, meaning a star like Abrams, who possesses 3 years of team control, is a luxury they cannot afford to keep until he is too expensive or too old to align with their competitive window. They are not expected to contend this year or next. If Washington is optimistic about 2028, that leaves only 1 year of Abrams before he hits free agency, assuming no long-term extension. The longer they hold him, the more his trade value erodes. The most shocking destination for Abrams is right within the division, the Atlanta Braves. Intra-division trades of this caliber are rare, requiring intense desperation. The Braves, however, might be desperate enough. After signing Ha-Sung Kim to a 1-year, $20 million contract, disaster struck. Kim slipped on ice while in Korea and tore a tendon in his right middle finger, sidelining him until at least June. While the Braves can patch the gap with utility players like Mauricio Dubon and Jorge Mateo, Kim has now suffered significant injuries in 3 consecutive seasons. Coupled with their protracted struggle to find a stable shortstop since Dansby Swanson departed for the Cubs, Atlanta might pay the hefty price for a permanent solution in Abrams. The Nationals' return would be substantial. LHP Cam Caminiti, ranked number 53 on top prospect lists, and RHP Didier Fuentes, number 88, two top 100 pitching prospects, alongside IF Nacho Alvarez Jr. This haul is essential for the Nationals, whose previous regime notoriously struggled to develop high-level pitching talent, leaving the farm system barren on the mound. However, the Braves' trade scenario is a stretch, fueled by injury and desperation. A more likely destination for Abrams, one with deep front office ties, is back to the Red Sox. The key to this alternative deal lies in the recent personnel shift in Washington. New Nationals president of baseball operations, Paul Taboni, was poached directly from the Red Sox, where he served as assistant GM and, before that, director of amateur scouting. Taboni knows the Boston system intimately, and this familiarity provides the perfect lubricant for a complex trade. In this scenario, the Red Sox acquire Abrams to play second base, significantly upgrading their defense and consistency in the middle infield. The return package mirrors the Atlanta deal in scope, but targets players known well by Taboni: LHP Connolly Early, ranked number 48, RHP Juan Valera, number 90, and IF David Hamilton. This trade is arguably safer than the Beatty swap for Boston. They keep their 4 starting outfielders, and there is still ample playing time to go around, while improving their infield without losing any player projected as a key 2026 contributor. Early, despite reaching the majors in 2025, is now surplus to requirements in a rotation bolstered by the acquisitions of Sonny Gray and Ranger Suarez. He is also currently behind Peyton Toll on the prospect depth chart, making him expendable but high value. While Abrams is another left-handed bat, a slight negative for the Red Sox lineup balance, his upside is immense. He has been a consistent 5-WAR player for 3 straight years, and at just 25, there is a belief among scouts that his true ceiling has yet to be reached. Shifting gears entirely, let's look at 2 teams seeking to optimize secondary positions, the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. Louis Cardinals president of baseball operations Shane Bloom has publicly acknowledged the need for a right-handed outfield bat, a need made even more pressing by the fact that Austin Hayes just signed with the White Sox, thinning an already anemic free agent market. Toronto's Davis Schneider is the perfect solution. Schneider has proven he can crush left-handed pitching. Just ask Blake Snell. But his role with the Blue Jays has become severely limited. The signing of Kazuma Okamoto pushes Addison Barger to right field, subsequently making George Springer the full-time designated hitter. The Blue Jays are committed to giving Anthony Santander a long run in left field after an injury-riddled 2025 campaign, limiting Schneider's opportunities even further, despite his offensive potential. What the Blue Jays desperately need, however, is bullpen fortification. LHP Jojo Romero is coming off a stellar 0.7 ERA season, his 2nd consecutive strong year. As he enters his final year before free agency, he is the reliever the Cardinals are most incentivized to move. Toronto already has lefties Eric Lauer and Brendan Little in the bullpen, but Lauer doubles as rotation insurance, and his 2025 comeback season may have been a statistical mirage, while Little's command imploded in the postseason, rendering him unusable by the World Series. Romero provides certainty and an elite late-inning option, potentially pairing with a rejuvenated Little to form one of the league's most formidable lefty tandems. Finally, we circle back to the Houston Astros, who, despite all the earlier permutations, still have an undeniable weakness that General Manager Dana Brown spoke about at a recent media luncheon: the persistent need for a high-quality left-handed bat. Neither the Paredes trade nor the Walker trade solves this core issue, but this final proposal does. The Astros have reportedly made center fielder Jake Myers available all offseason. While this trade won't be headline news, it solves a crucial operational problem for both parties. The Angels need a center fielder, desperately. The Los Angeles Angels' current Fangraphs projection for center field ranks them worst in the majors for 2026, primarily due to catastrophic defense. Joe Adell is not a center fielder. Josh Lowe, whom the Angels acquired earlier in the offseason from Tampa Bay, is fast, but his defensive metrics confirm he is also not a good center fielder. The Angels have even floated the possibility of moving Mike Trout back to center field, a suggestion that, historically, always feels like a typically bad Angels organizational decision designed to generate headlines rather than wins.
Myers, however, is an elite defender. While his bat and health have been inconsistent, he focused on contact in 2025, leading to a career-best .373 slash line. Sacrificing power for better on-base skills makes him an ideal defensive anchor for the Angels. In return, the Astros acquire OF Josh Lowe. Lowe's overall 2025 numbers weren't spectacular, but he hit a solid .420 against right-handed pitching, making him the left-handed bat Dana Brown craves.
Critically, Lowe is not far removed from a career-defining 7 WAR season in 2023. The Astros would have to find a new center fielder, but they have internal options. Cam Smith, Zach Cole, who performed well in a 15-game trial, and rookie Bryce Matthews all played center field at various minor league levels, offering high upside alternatives to pair with Lowe's reliable left-handed thump. The sheer volume of movement this winter has shown us that the traditional barriers, payroll, positional scarcity, even deep-seated rivalry, are dissolving.
Teams are operating with a clarity of purpose previously unseen, willing to strip down and rebuild midstream to optimize the margins. But as we dissect these 6 potential moves that could redefine the playoff landscape, a dark horse is emerging. The Milwaukee Brewers have been ominously silent, hoarding pitching assets and refusing to commit to their rebuild. Next week, we expose the one player the Brewers must move to unlock their future, and the 3 desperate teams waiting to pay a record-breaking haul for him. Click subscribe now so you don't miss the details on the impending cataclysmic trade that will make every deal we just discussed look like a minor league handshake.